wanna watch a drama. You say you wanna watch a comedy. Well, you can watch it with your mama, or you can watch it with your daddy. You'll even sit and watch it with your middle schooler, so you can come and talk around a water cooler. We're watching all day and all night. Couch potatoes unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch potatoes unite. Whoa, whoa. Couch potatoes unite.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Exclamation point, which is based on a blog of the same name because we can't all be a transponster! That's not even a word! My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground for something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU! Exclamation point! Hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panels and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and by Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to The Good Place, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, The X-Files, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, Schitt's Creek, New Girl, The Originals, Supernatural, The Crown, Once Upon a Time, Will and Grace, and The Arrowverse on the CW. We've published several episodes in our Looking Back series covering such diverse shows as Sense8, Battle Creek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, Marvel's Agent Carter, and Third Rock from the Sun. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for 13 Reasons Why, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Grace and Frankie, Fuller House, American Horror Story, Doctor Who, A Series of Unfortunate Events. We'll be launching new panels covering Westworld, Jane the Virgin, The Americans, Riverdale, and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be launching our mega Star Trek retrospective into space, The Final Frontier, in the near future. Look! I finally changed that tagline! What can it all mean?
I'll be there for you.
Okay.
What does it all mean, you ask?
Well, apparently you had an answer. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from bunkers and comedy shows. Plus, we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff. It's true. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, as long as you don't make us feel like Monica might make us feel for failing to place the marshmallows in concentric circles. I know! Today's panel and I are launching a new Looking Back series in honor of the 25th anniversary year. That's right, folks, 25 years of one of our all-time favorite shows, a show we all love dearly and hold very close to our TV-loving hearts. If you aren't already aware, from time to time, CPU will be choosing shows of all types, but usually of some fame or notoriety to reminisce about, and to consider whether or not they age gracefully, like a coffee barista with hair as bright as the sun, or don't hold up as well, like Joey turning 30. Why, God? Why? As such, this is another chapter of our Looking Back podcast episodes, wherein we review a show that has been gone, either via natural end or cancellation for some time, and today that show is, and try not to faint when I make this announcement since I know we've been advertising it for quite some time, Friends! In fact, today is the first of 3 episode discussions in which we'll be looking back at one of the most popular sitcoms of all time, which in turn became one of the most popularly requested panels on CPU. In fact, we've also had requests to talk about this show as recommended from viewers like you. Today, in the first episode of our series, we'll be discussing seasons 1 through 4, the most applicable of the Ross and Rachel years. In part 2, our panel will discuss seasons 5 through 7, and in part 3, we'll talk seasons 8 through 10, as well as present our top 10 best and bottom 10 worst episode lists, as we tend to do with these retrospective series. Now, here comes the plot summary. Friends is an American television sitcom created by David Crane and Marta Kaufman, which aired on NBC from 1994 to 2004 for 10 seasons. The ensemble cast stars Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer. The show revolves around 6 friends in their 20s and 30s who live in Manhattan and New York City. The series was produced by Bright Kaufman Crane Productions in association with Warner Brothers Television. The original executive producers were Kevin S. Bright, Kaufman, and Crane. All 10 seasons of Friends ranked within the top 10 of the final television season ratings. It ultimately reached the number 1 spot in its 8th season. The series finale aired on May 6, 2004 and was watched by approximately 52.5 million American viewers, making it the 5th most watched series finale in television history and the most watched television episode of the Millennium Decade. Friends received acclaim throughout its run, becoming one of the most popular television shows of all time. The series was nominated for 62 Primetime Emmy Awards, winning the Outstanding Comedy Series Award in 2002 for the 8th season. In fact, Friends has received several rankings in TV Best Of lists that CPU also follows, including number 21 on TV Guide's 50 Greatest TV Shows of All Time in 2002 and number 28 on TV Guide's 60 Best TV Series of All Time in 2013, number 7 on Empire Magazine's 50 Greatest TV Shows of All Time in 2008, and number 5 on the same list in 2016, number 1 on the Hollywood Reporter's Hollywood's 100 Favorite Shows. It features on Time Magazine's All-Time 100 TV Shows and is number 26 on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest TV Shows of All Time. In 1997, the episode The One with the Prom Video was ranked number 100 on TV Guide's 100 Greatest Episodes of All Time, and in 2013, Friends ranked number 24 on the Writers Guild of America's 101 Best Written TV Series of All Time. Today, in part 1 of our 3-part Friends series, our overflowingly full panel of Friends, all familiar CPU voices, and a very involved moderator will talk about the finer and less fine points of one of the most watched, most beloved sitcoms of all time. In this episode, we will be focusing specifically upon seasons 1 through 4 of Friends, covering the series' beginning, its initial growing pains, if any, and its catapult to international fan favorite, a perch on which it has sat since it ended. It should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire series and may discuss sensitive plot points, sight gags, jokes, and other bits of comedy best enjoyed on a first watch. So for those of you who have not watched Friends, first of all, how is that even possible? I can't believe it. It's syndicated. It's everywhere. You gotta fix that. And then second, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Oh, and P.S., this panel will not be covering the spin-off 2 seasons of Joey. If you want us to do that, though, drop us a line. Maybe we'll consider it. At this time...
You also have to buy it for us and mail it to us.
Yes.
Because I don't even know where one would get that.
Has anyone even seen it? I did watch parts of the first season and I gave up, but yeah.
Okay.
I think I watched the pilot.
Rein it in, Kylie.
Rein it in! All these voices, nobody knows who you are.
They do.
So what I'm going to do at this time is introduce the 7 familiar people that are on this panel. And it goes like this. If you haven't listened to us before, they're going to tell you their first name, how they came to watch Friends, what made them start watching, how they found out about it, what kept them watching. Tell us how you found Friends. I mean, just lie to us if you have to. And then you get to rank your interest in the show, and because we're looking back, and we're only going to do it in this episode, but because we're looking back, you have to give 2 answers. How you felt at the beginning of the series and how you felt at the end of the series. And it's along the standard CPU character question, which changes with each show we do. And it's going to go like this. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Yes.
By the way, because this is a sitcom, Kylie does bad impressions. Here we go.
Oh, could we be more excited?
That's one of them. Okay.
Krista's helping you.
She is.
Oh, she.
Stop. I know. Rails, come back. So how would you rate your interest in Friends at the beginning and at the end of the 10 seasons? Oh my God! It's like your favorite show ever! It wins at everything, just like you! And it's so clean, except when it's not. Which is okay, because let's face it, sometimes you like to enjoy a guilty pleasure, such as a secret closet where you keep or make those messes. I know! Like Monica Geller. You like it, yeah. I mean, it makes you feel very floopy at times, but at other times it's really sweet and great and makes you feel hopeful about the world, which is very much in contrast to your sad life story. Oh no. At least Friends will be there for you, like Phoebe Buffay. You don't know. You mean, yeah, okay, you guess it's all right, but it's not like it's better than cheesecake from Mama's Little Bakery, okay? But you suppose it's better than that English trifle Rachel made, like Rachel Green. Hi. What are you talking about? Friends? It's so mundane and so scientifically inaccurate. You would much rather talk about the Velociraptor and the Pleistocene era, because paleontology and science are cool. Geology rocks. But Friends, you would never waste your time, especially since you're so busy getting divorced. Though you did have a thing for Rachel. Okay, so you watched it, but you stubbornly won't admit that you like it, like Ross Geller. Could this be any more predictable? In fact, could this whole show be any more cliche? Friends, like everyone in the world has to watch this thing. Watch something else for a change, even if you might have secretly taken a peek every now and again yourself. Mwah, like Chandler Bing. Or, how you doing? Like Joey Tribbiani, who would like to start?
My name's Nick.
Hi, Nick.
That's how it starts.
That is how it starts.
And then I started watching the show because I had to. It was must-see TV. And I did whatever NBC told me to do back then.
Aw, they'll be so happy
You
to hear
weren't
that.
alone.
I think I am, for the purposes of this podcast, Monica at the beginning and at the end.
Okay.
I really like the show. I didn't really want it to be over back then when it did end. And I really enjoy it still.
Okay. Welcome back, Nick.
Thanks, Kylie.
Nick is one of our most involved panelists. In fact, the second most involved.
Woohoo!
You're on like nerdy ones and not nerdy ones and drama ones and
What ones are not nerdy? I just want to...
Orange is the New Black.
That's
And you said
6 feet
Broadchurch,
under wasn't
weren't you?
nerdy.
Yeah, Broadchurch isn't
He's
nerdy.
not on 6 Feet Under.
No.
Oh, right.
I
That was-
watched
okay,
it.
I don't know. I just assume
Who's
anything.
all these people talking?
Good job, Nick.
You have a disclaimer. Go. It's not me this time.
Oh, the next person that's going to talk is my wife, Sarah. And her name is
Sarah.
Ali Oop.
Hi, Sarah.
Right. I didn't... Okay, I watched this at the beginning when everyone was watching it, but I wasn't, like, watching it religiously because I had a lot of extracurricular activities.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to say that I don't... I was probably like Rachel at the beginning, according to your list of people. Because I liked it, but I wasn't, like, burning down the doors to get to the...
You would rather
That's
go
not a
shopping.
saying.
Was
Don't say
shopping your
that's
extracurricular activity?
No, lots of sports and musicals.
Okay. Took that literally.
Oh. Okay, but at the end I definitely was a Monica, and having since rewatched the entire thing several times, I'm a Monica watching it straight through. If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
All right, good.
Welcome back, Sarah.
It's good to be here, guys.
Sarah's on a lot of our panels too, many of them with Nick, like the X-Files and Doctor Who
And some without, like 6 Feet Under and Ally McBeal, both retrospectives.
That's true.
Both retrospectives.
And I'm on Stranger Things.
You are on Stranger Things
Nick is
now.
not
Oh.
on there.
You're very proud
That's
to say
true.
that.
You're on a nerdy one without me.
I am.
And you're both on Schitt's Creek, which is not nerdy and together.
It's almost a little hipster now. Everyone's latching on to
Now
it.
it's like, yeah, it's mainstream.
It's comedy
just like
nerdy.
all of a sudden it's everywhere.
It can be.
Yeah.
Well, one of you two get to go next.
Go ahead.
Because y'all are talking a lot.
Okay, I'll go next.
Okay.
And I'm Hillary.
Hi,
and
Hillary.
usually I have the disclaimer, but he's not here today.
But somebody else is.
You are. That's right. Damn it. Okay. Half
She's
disclaimer.
always here.
That's true, but I always forget that part. It's so focused on the Kyle part that always is like a side thing. Anyways, Kylie's my sister and she's moderating.
Hi, Hillary.
I literally don't remember a time in my life where Friends wasn't a part of it. I'm just gonna be very honest. We were pretty young when it started. And it was probably one of the many shows that I shouldn't have been watching that I still ended up watching.
That might be somebody's fault.
Yes, I had older siblings. I'm a Monica in the beginning and a Monica at the end. I love it. It's probably one of 3 shows that I have rewatched over and over so many times that I can't see straight. So
how's your vision today?
it's pretty good.
Okay.
I came right from work, but it's pretty good.
Fair enough. Well, this should cure it. Welcome back, Hillary.
Hello.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Hello. I would say I started watching this show from the beginning. I don't remember. It was kind of just like
Just part of
Thursday
your
nights.
life.
Yeah, I mean, we went to high school together, same
did.
year. We were like,
That's
wow.
a dynamic.
Sugar, another disclaimer.
My I the
You're like,
only
what?
one that did extracurriculars?
No, I did
did
extracurricular.
How did you get home to watch this?
I made time for this show, but that's part of my intro.
Maybe you guys had like a...
When I
Taper.
was, this would have been like what,
Taper.
4th grade
TBR.
when it started.
Listen to Andrew.
Sorry.
At first, I mean, if I was home on a Thursday, it just meant because I wasn't in rehearsal for a show at Civic Theater, because I was always doing that
Plug.
at that age. But also, I didn't start dancing on Thursdays
All right.
until high school, because that was not a dance night for mini dancers. So Thursday, it was just
I
must-see
always had dance on
TV.
Thursdays.
I did once I got to be competitive.
Don't distract him.
Sorry.
But I just remember always watching it with my mom and my little sister, who probably was like nursing and pooping her pants. But just
Oh,
like,
Allie will appreciate that
She
if she
was-
hears this.
yeah, now she's changing those diapers. But I just remember watching it, yeah, literally just like at home. I mean, I would say in hindsight, at the time, that was my favorite show ever. Like, always. So I would say I was in between Monica and Rachel, because thinking back...
So you were
I
Phoebe,
probably-
because Phoebe's actually step 2.
Oh, is Phoebe step 2?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Monica and Phoebe then.
Okay.
Monica's 1, right?
Yes.
Yes. But in hindsight, looking back, it was probably more like Phoebe then, Monica as an adult, back to Phoebe today.
All right.
If that makes sense.
That's fine.
I feel
You
like
can do
you're
what
always
you want.
a Phoebe.
It is a little hard because you when you rewatch it again, you feel different and it's
Well,
like...
right, like when I started rewatching it, I mean, I've watched this on Netflix. It was so hard to go back and be like, where should I watch? Because every episode says watched.
Yeah.
And what ones have I fallen asleep on? And I loved it as an adult. But now, in 2019...
You're not an adult anymore.
but in 2019, I notice more of the flaws.
We'll get to that. It can't all
So-
happen in the intro,
right.
Andrew.
So,
This is just
so
the
that's
intro?
why
I
I'm
thought this was just part
fluctuating
1.
between the two.
There are panelists that have not talked yet.
Okay, next.
Hold on. Welcome back to Andrew. Also, welcome back to Hillary. Hillary's on many of our nerdy podcast
Yes, and
panels.
some other randos, but yeah, mostly everyone.
Yes, and Andrew has repeatedly said he's on 6 Feet Under.
I'm on so many of the looking backs.
You
So
are.
That's...
And some of the quirky comedies. It's a weird mix. So welcome back to both. Now, the other person talking is...
Hi, my name is Krista.
Hi, Krista.
Hi, Krista.
Hey. So I didn't watch this show till college when it was over.
Oh.
You rebel.
But you probably caught it.
Like, I mean, there would be like occasional,
Yeah.
like it'd be on because it was before Jeopardy.
No, it was not.
This is what was
If it was
important.
syndicated, it
Oh,
was.
I get it.
This is what was important in my family's house. Jeopardy.
Here, I see.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
So-
Jeopardy
That
too.
should be
It's okay.
inexcusable for anyone born before 1995.
We'll never get to the show.
Anyway,
This is your
I
fault.
started watching the show in college, and at that point, I think I was a Chandler when I started,
Wow.
and I found, and there
Could
were,
I be any more surprised? No.
I considered doing a Chandler for the entirety of this episode, but I decided against it.
Okay.
And I definitely had Chandler points throughout the entirety of the show, but I think I ended with a strong finish as a Monica.
Whoa.
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 Well, that's good. That was quite an improvement.
The Bings! We are the Bings! Etc.
I see. Welcome back, Krista. Krista doesn't do nerdy ones. She does historically minded ones and quirky comedy ones. She gets really British ones and gets really upset when she doesn't do the nerdy ones that other people are doing because they talk about those and she's not nerdy.
She's on Kimmy
She's
Schmidt.
not nerdy, but she does the British and historical.
Different kind of nerdy. Let's be honest.
We're just laying all the cards out on the table. Dynamics.
Yeah.
We're all nerdy about something.
That's
We
right.
definitely, just listen to the tutors and you can hear a lot of my opinions.
She has opinions. Welcome
I
back.
forgot about that show.
And then...
Versus.
So I'm Samantha,
Hi,
and I'm just
Samantha.
realizing that I have so much in common with Krista because I went from being a Chandler to a Rachel to a Monica. Similar to Krista, I started watching it when it was in syndication. I sort of stumbled upon it and checked it out and really liked it. But I remember when I was middle school, high school, when it was really all the rage and live, that I really didn't understand what people liked about this show.
Maybe we should disclose our ages. That'd be interesting.
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Okay, let Samantha finish.
There's, several episodes in a row on TBS. It's like, okay, yeah, this actually is pretty good. And then, okay, let me just pop on Amazon, buy all the DVDs, and without commercials, and when you can just marathon through the whole thing, it becomes magically so much better. So, ended on a Monica.
Excellent. Welcome back, Samantha. And what panels are you on? Let's see, you've got Grace and Frankie and Agent Carter.
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls, that's right. And you just appeared live with some of these jokers at our Grand Rapids Comic-Con.
I did. It was so much fun.
Yay! Welcome back to all. Of course, my name is Kylie, and I'm participating as well as moderating like I usually do. Let me tell you a little story. It's story time. Hey! Save it for the discussion!
She's going to be like momming us the whole time.
I am too. And if not, Sarah will.
Sarah's getting a headache.
I'm sorry.
Oh, screaming.
Okay.
Well, that's a mom thing if I can.
No, I'm like a grandma.
So once upon a time, I also felt like Samantha did, except, so if we are disclosing ages, I am the oldest one in the room. And this was contemporary and live. Basically, it premiered when I was a senior in high school. And to set the stage, Star Trek The Next Generation ended the same year that this show began.
That's weird.
Isn't it? And of course, I was watching Star Trek The Next Generation, and when Friends came on, Star Trek Deep Space Nine was also on. And Star Trek Voyager started in a couple of years. So you can tell what my predilection for shows was. It wasn't Friends. And I didn't understand what was going on with it either. Why was there a monkey? I didn't understand. I know. So then, fast forward to my freshman year in college at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Go Blue. And while I was a freshman, living in a triple with two other pre-med students who were always stressed all the time, and they were studying for organic chemistry. I remember this very specifically because it was weird. I lived in honors housing. It was more quiet than normal dormitories, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday it would be loud like every other day of the week.
They needed to unwind.
Yes, until Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. It was the weirdest little phenomenon. You'd hear doors slam, TVs come on, and people were talking about this show.
Must-see TV.
It's must-see TV. So, and one of these Thursdays where my two roommates were having spasms and I just needed to leave the room, the girls across the hall, also in a triple, said, "Why don't you come watch Friends with us? Ross is going to kiss Rachel." And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. So the very first episode I watched was the one where Ross finds out, or as the fans know it, the one with closure. And I don't know what it was about that episode, but I was hooked ever since. And watched every single episode live Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, if at all possible. And it was religion. Nobody called me, nobody talked to me, nobody bothered me. I am watching Friends, and y'all know better. And then it became one of my most favorite shows, top 5 favorite shows of all time, which means at the beginning when I started watching it, even though I had missed the first season and a half at that point, I would still be a Monica, because for some reason I fell in love with it on that one episode. Don't ask me why. I'm definitely a Monica by the end. And still a Monica. Not in real life, but at least as far as the scale goes. So that is your panel, guys. And this is going to be rowdy. And maybe give Sarah a headache. I'm sorry about that. So what we're going to do is talk about Friends. And in this first episode, we're going to be focusing on seasons 1 through 4. So if you have listened to our retrospective series, which includes the X-Files, Buffy, and Angel, you know that this is a little bit more deeper dive than a normal looking back, but not quite as deep a dive as our water cooler episodes. We're going to talk about each season in general, kind of speed through it, talk about favorite episodes, least favorite episodes, and then any plot points or major things that we want to talk about as the seasons go. And we'll cover the first 4 in this episode, the next 3 in the second, the next 3 in the third, and we'll do our best of lists, which I've asked all of the panelists to do. So, We're going to start with season 1. I've given the panel a cheat sheet, but if you've seen the series as many times as I believe we all have, you should know. Season 1 has the monkey. We meet all the friends. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And we learn about Ross's divorce from who would be his lesbian ex-wife, Carol, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So talk about season 1.
I like it.
Thanks, Nick.
Boy, but you jumped right into the lesbian storyline. If that's one of those things that you watch now and are like, boy, was that tone deaf. But at the time, it was
one of the first shows to actually put that sort of relationship on the map. Like, it was kind of pioneering that way. I'm sure that there will be commentaries about how some things are out of date to the time now, but it was actually ahead of its time at the time.
Well, in the cast, nobody had a problem with that. Like, the only people who thought it was odd might be, like, Ross's parents might say, they might, like, tip their head, but there wasn't...
But they were still
everything was
ultimately,
in a
like,
positive.
accepting of it.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I feel like there was so much, like, the lesbian storyline was, like, the butt of jokes.
So
like,
many jokes.
Yeah, it was, like,
sitcom.
very... Yeah, I mean, going back and I rewatched season 1 through 3, like, continuously recently, and it was just like, it set with me different than it had before.
The one with
like,
the Lamaze class where it's like, I'm definitely...
Ross is a very homophobic character,
Yes.
but that's another conversation. But no, I just felt like their storylines were very the butt of the joke.
I think the
You're
middle
supposed to
ground
laugh
of
at
kind
that.
of what we're saying is, at the time,
Yes.
they were trying to be forward. I believe they were trying to be forward thinking and showing this kind of relationship. But
20
now,
years ago was a
But
very...
making fun of them by saying, oh, here's a lesbian couple, but we're gonna make fun of you.
So, since we've launched right into this, I'm doing my context rant.
Yeah.
1994. It was in
Yeah.
1996 when Ellen DeGeneres' first sitcom on ABC premiered. And when she came out in that first season, it got canceled. That was 2 years after this lesbian storyline.
Yes.
Lauren Dern didn't get work for like 3 or 4 years, and she's like one of the best actors alive.
yeah, I just want to...
It doesn't hold up in the same way. The jokes aren't funny, but I see how that at the time they were trying.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I'm not saying it's great or wonderful. Now, I just want to point out that I don't believe they meant it to be mean-spirited.
Oh, no. Correct.
I don't
Not
think
in
that...
any way.
And I think that
One
there
of
are
the
people...
3 creators is gay.
It's not...
Maybe
but-
it's trained.
Just looking back at it from like today's perspective, when you're watching, you're like, eesh.
I mean, it shows
I'm
a codependency parentage with Ben. There's just so many aspects of it. I mean, the biggest thing, if Ross is upset, well, his wife was cheating on him with another woman.
That's right.
That
Which
is
would
true.
be, and it was his first love, the first person he ever had sex with. That would be very upsetting to learn. That actually happened, like, to a relative of ours. She was in that same exact position. So I don't think it's necessarily they're trying to be completely derogatory about the whole thing. There are a couple of jokes that are dated, like Krista said, but ultimately I think that they were trying to be forward thinking.
And we're going to have a similar conversation when we get to Chandler's dad, because
Yes, absolutely.
Chandler was scarred for life at age 9 because his
It was
parents broke
Up,
up
divorce on Thanksgiving
because
in front
he
of
was
him.
cheating with the houseboy who he was making out with in front of him.
Right.
So there's a lot of like human
Scarring and
And
dealing
nature.
with and dealing with that's the whole point of the show, and we'll talk about it I'm sure many times, is these are real, they're dealing with real things as friends together. And ultimately,
But
it
in
touches,
a Gen X context, which is the other
Yes.
thing. Like, this was the first sitcom at the time that really geared toward the younger set.
Mm-hmm.
The things that were really going on were Seinfeld, Frasier, Mad About You. Maybe that started after, I don't know.
No, that was right before, because that's how some of the characters crossed.
Yeah,
That's
over.
right,
yeah,
you're
that's
right.
Ursula. What a
And
weird
there
character.
was a
Mash.
camo with what's her face, Helen Hunt.
That's
and,
right. And
the friend.
Yeah, the friend who I can't remember her
Yeah.
name of. So, I mean, those were the types of sitcoms that were contemporary to Friends.
I-
Friends was the
I
very
agree.
first one just like
It
it.
was-
that, but I mean, like going back to the time limit, I mean, Roseanne did it first, and Sandra Bernhardt, I mean, her storyline wasn't offensive at all. It wasn't the butt of a joke. She was a lesbian, and that was before Friends. So it wasn't the pioneer, but I get like we was trying to be, forward thinking, and it was at the time. But Roseanne did it better.
I didn't watch Roseanne, so I can't
Yeah,
agree or
watching
disagree.
it back,
I watched
that
Roseanne,
doesn't
obviously.
offend me.
But
That
on the
storyline.
flip side of that, Roseanne is also kind of a commentary and the butt of jokes about a lot of other things,
Right.
like middle class white people. So that there's a flip side to everything.
Or lower
there.
middle class.
It's literally it's literally a satire of that.
Right.
So
But it's all a dream, right?
No,
Very
not
good.
anymore.
Not anymore. Not since the reboot.
So one thing I did want to say about that storyline that always bothered me was I did feel bad for Ross about the whole baby thing, because there were times when
they were almost trying to cut him out a little.
it did feel like that, and I watched it again like, was I just being blah? But Susan bugged me this season. I liked her in later seasons, but she bugged me because she kept saying, well, I'm this and that. Well, yeah, but he's like the dad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more...
she's among my least favorite characters, and I think
Yeah.
it's less about showing lesbian relationships, but it always felt odd to me that you had this group of primarily single friends, and then he was the quote-unquote more mature one of having been married, and then now a kid's on the way, and then all this bad stuff starts happening, and all that breaks apart. But he always seemed like such an outlier in terms of how they set up his situation as a character, and it didn't always make sense to me.
Sometimes his only connection was because he was, had a crush on Rachel, but because Monica was his sister.
Early on, it did seem that way. I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, later on,
Right.
we learn all this stuff about Chandler and him and their band and whatever.
But see, the way I always looked at it is there is always that one friend that's kind of ahead of everything in terms of life obstacles and milestones and things like that. So it just added depth to me, I guess, a little bit. And even as I got older and understood it more, that's just always the way I looked at it.
I mean, these characters they are in real life, but also on the show, they're 8 years older than me. I've done the math by when they all turned 30 episode. They're 8 years older than me. And this is kind of the stuff that everybody was talking about. This was the Gen X experience, which is why for me the context is so important, because the millennial, post-millennial experience is not the same. And that's why I think Friends speaks to me on such a profound level, because I have all the same predilections that people are talking about right now. And I do agree, a lot of the jokes, date themselves, but we're also talking about 20 years, and a lot has happened in 25 years.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in a quarter of a century. Let's put that into context. Just like, from 1994, 25 years before that was 1969. Woodstock. So
Right.
just
Even
put
their,
that out
I mean,
there.
they don't have cell phones, and then later they kind of do, but like
The
they're
big
huge.
box ones, yeah.
They look like, one of them looks like Zach Morris's
by
phone.
Yeah, and by the end, I mean, they're using flip phones and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see there was literally, because it was on for 10 years, there was already, like...
The progression.
Progression, a major switch over even in that time.
There is even progression in the characters, which we can kind of talk about that, but we're focusing on season 1 right now. So aside from the monkey and aside from Susan and Carol, were there any other pieces or parts you wanted to talk about in season 1?
Did we talk about the monkey?
We didn't talk about
We
the
can
monkey.
talk about the monkey. Marcel, the monkey.
There's just some things that it's like, why? And I think even the first time I watched it, I was just kind of like, why is this happening?
Season one is kind of rough.
It's a little bit up and down.
At the time, I don't know, was there a thing with like capuchin monkeys and stuff? Like, I feel like I was obsessed with them because of Monkey Trouble in Thora Birch, and then
There might have been a thing with monkeys because of the show, but there wasn't a thing with monkeys before the show.
Well, no, I just think like I've always wanted one, and I think it goes back to the movie Monkey Trouble and Friends. It was like, that's what I wanted as a pet.
I will say when I first watched this, and I probably didn't watch season 1 when it first came out, but because I was 9, but I did. I enjoyed the monkey the first time around, but now.
Are we the same age? I always forget this.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
What
all the
year
same
were you
age.
born? Were you 9 in
1985.
Yeah.
January of 1985. Am I
April
older than you?
1980.
By half a year.
Whoa!
3 months older than me.
Trippy.
Or 4.
I'm so outnumbered.
So I didn't mind the monkey story the first time around, but now I only like the one when he comes back. It's the Jean-Claude Van Damme 2-parter.
I mean,
That's
I
a
just-
funny episode.
they
I
sing
just
Lion
see it
Sleeps
for what
Tonight,
it is.
but-
Marcel is not meant to be. It's supposed to be a joke. Like, it's
I know.
I think people are overthinking the monkey thing.
I'm
It
not.
is-
I'm not overthinking it at all. I thought
mean,
it was a joke that went on too long.
That's true, but I'm pretty sure it's just like he got divorced, he needed a companion, and he was falling in love with Rachel all over again.
You know,
the one with the monkey is one of my least favorite episodes of this season.
When you rewatch it, like, it seems like it went on a really long time. I don't think it was that many episodes, but however many it was too many.
And they wanted it longer. It was the cast that was sick of it.
Yeah, they were like, we can't work with this monkey.
They
were smart.
I do think in a lot of ways, yeah, you can definitely tell that they were finding their footing in the first season. It's not one of the strongest seasons, but there's still lots of good moments.
Least favorite is the one with the ick factor.
That is my least favorite of this season.
Where Monica dates a child.
Oh yeah, the high school student. She sleeps with the 17-year-old.
She says she's younger than she is. He says he's older. She thinks he's a senior in
college. And she says she's 22 when she's really 26.
And like she's just really wanting to kind of meet somebody, and so she goes, and then she finds him, and they have a thing.
Well, what was really interesting, I'm not trying to change gears, but it made me think she slept with someone in the pilot, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I remember that being like, like she went out and slept with somebody on, was it the first date? I think it was the first date.
Mm-hmm. So that was another thing that I think they started to do on TV more, was talk about just sex in general.
Yeah.
And that kind of openness about it, and that people have one night stands, and being realistic about it, because now people, that's like nothing. People talk, I mean, you probably would never have done that, but there's a lot of people out there that do.
Yeah.
And they're totally cool with it.
And people probably did it back then, but they just weren't really talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think that was something, Monica had sex with a couple people.
She has sex with a lot of people.
And I'm not slut-shaming her. She's not real anyway. But, like, that was different. I mean, I don't know, like, daytime soap operas, what they do on there. But this was, that was different for this show. And it kind of goes back to what Kylie said about the Generation Xers kind of setting their own tone for things. And it is very generational.
My favorite part of season 1 is just how dated it looks now. I have a lot of 90s nostalgia.
I
just like the look of it.
Come on, the Rachel haircut was born of this season. And she only had it for a year, but everybody still asks Jennifer Aniston to this day about the Rachel haircut.
But even still, I think people were trying to emulate her hairstyles in the later seasons.
On Graham Norton, she tells the story that her hairstylist was drunk.
Yeah.
When he did that.
That was a mistake.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And that she was meant to have to reproduce it every time when she was in makeup. She had to do it herself, and she just basically gave up after a while. She said, I'm not doing this anymore.
I mean, I was just, even when she comes onto the scene for the first time, she's left Barry at the altar, and she's in her super 90s wedding dress and everything, and I'm like, oh boy, what's going to happen here? It didn't even occur to me that it was going to be so centralized around Ross and Rachel from the get-go, when I first started watching it anyway.
I don't think they intended that, but I think it just kind of took
It ended up happening.
Honestly,
I think NBC might have steered it because that is their note ever since Cheers to almost every sitcom is that you need the will they, won't they.
Yeah, but I think they steered it before it piloted because David Schwimmer was the first person cast, and they wanted this dynamic with somebody, and she was one of the earlier ones cast. Matthew Perry was cast in the last 20 minutes before the very first read-through.
Do you know why? Have you heard that story?
Yeah, I do, but do you want to tell it?
I will.
Okay.
So he was in 2 pilots. And the one that he was committed to first, I guess it depends when you sign, was about robots that are working at LAX. And he was like, oh boy, I really hope this doesn't go through because I really want to do this other... it was called Friends Like Me, the pilot at the time. And they thought it was going to get picked up, the robot in LAX thing. I don't remember what it was called, but luckily it didn't, because he was like, thank the Lord. That would have been the worst.
What character?
Chandler.
Who, Chandler?
Yeah.
Also, he knew a bunch of people that were reading for Chandler, and so the story that he also tells is that he would help them with their auditions, and that basically Chandler is very much an extension of who he is in real life. It's just an exaggerated version. So he would try to get his friends to do it like he would do it, but of course they didn't translate it very well. And when this pilot got dropped that Sarah's talking about, he read it like he was coaching everybody else to do, and they cast him on the spot. So,
Leah Remini was supposed to be Monica, and that blows my mind.
well, I'm happy she was not.
Me too. She was their original, and I think Courtney Cox was in to audition for Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. She did audition for Rachel, and Jennifer Aniston auditioned for Monica, and they ended up switching that. I know a lot of Friends trivia, guys.
Thank God Leah did it good.
And we needed her for King of Queens. Come on now.
That's right.
And Lisa Kudrow was cast.
Are you into that? I mean, no offense. I'm sure some people love that, but that's no Friends.
Lisa Kudrow was cast in Frasier, and they were
That's true.
They filmed the pilot with her. Or they were working on the pilot, and
She got fired.
Yeah, she's not in
she
the
was
pilot, believe me.
Roz, I believe.
Wow.
She was the first Roz.
And then she got on Mad About You. Geez,
Yep.
it's pretty popular
Lisa
over there.
Kudrow got around.
Though I mean,
Phoebe did.
I guess it is a Ross and Rachel centric show, but it truly, especially in the latter seasons, feels very ensemble.
Yes. Agreed. And in fact...
Yeah, they did a good job incorporating.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that progression. I wanted to mention that, for me, season 1 is kind of uneven and rough, just because you've got the monkey and you've got sort of the... They deliver their characters in a way that changes dramatically over the course of the season. Like Joey, Matt LeBlanc's portrayal of Joey starts off really, really edgy, but then he finds that sweetness to him like halfway through the first season. And Phoebe's especially flaky when she first starts, but then she gets her little edge. It evens out by the end of the first season.
They become like real people.
They become like real people. Monica has quite an evolution, but I don't think it straightens itself out in the first season. I think it's a later on thing. But for me, the episode that really stands out in this season is the one where Rachel finds out, which is the season finale, where they have the birthday party for her, and Ross buys her the brooch. And oh my God, I pointed this out like 6 weeks ago. He remembered. And then that's
Chandler.
when, what does he say?
Ridiculously expensive crystal
Yeah,
duck.
yeah, yeah. He's like, because someone goes, they
Come
make
on,
a comment
guys.
about it being expensive, and he's like, yeah, come on, guys. Remember when Ross bought Carol that ridiculously expensive crystal duck?
No,
When
but he
he
says,
was in
remember
love
how
with-
much in
love
love with
with her
Carol he was.
And then she's like, what did you say? And he's like,
Crystal duck.
And to me, that's where the show kind of kicks into the next gear, because you're like, oh, I see where this is going now.
but it's already in that you're already having those moments where you're feeling connected to those people already.
Yes.
Just in that simple scene. And you're like, oh my God. Because Rachel finding out, that's a big deal. She's known him for how long? A long time. So
9 years.
Yeah.
That's what they say. 9 years. And she's known, well, that's what they established in the pilot. He says, I don't know if you know, but I had a pretty big crush on you in high school. I knew.
Really? I just thought you thought I was Monica's geeky older brother.
I did.
Yes. Well, and it also, another one of my favorite episodes where it kind of because we're mentioning a lot of chemistry points, is the one with all the poker.
That's my second
That's my
favorite.
favorite.
Yes.
And I can't stand that episode.
Why?
You're
I don't know.
You're in the minority.
I always am.
Oh boy.
Why don't you?
Yeah, why don't you
then
like
we'll
the
talk
one with all
about
the
why
poker?
you're crazy.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Krista. Why do you not
What
like
don't
it?
you like about the one with all the poker?
I don't remember, except I know that I skip it every single time.
Why?
That's weird. I
But
think it's one of the few
You said
first
you don't
times you see them
remember?
as a group.
Maybe you need to give it. Yeah, it is one of the.
It
yeah.
is.
That's why I like it.
Why do you like it?
Because
It's all of them together?
you usually have an A, B, and C storyline, and my favorite ones are when those storylines happen in like
All at the
the
same
same
time.
room.
All of their dynamics are.
And it's the girls
Bouncing off
versus
each
the
other.
guys.
Yeah.
And Rachel is at her wit's end with the coffee job. She's trying to get a different job, which
I
she
think it was
doesn't get.
after Paulo, right?
Ugh.
That's right after Paulo, because it's
Probably.
because like Paulo hits on Phoebe.
Yes. At the massage clinic.
Do we meet Richard in season 1 or season 2?
2.
Two.
I thought that was 3. That's 2.
2.
It's two.
Trust me.
Oh, and that's another one that bothers me.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to season 2. We're still trying to
Okay.
suss out why the one with all the poker is...
Yeah, we're still talking about that.
I'll pause. Sorry.
I think we're good.
I just like all the quotes. There's so many good back.
Your
and
money's
forth.
mine, Green.
Your flies
Eyes
down.
open,
Yeah.
Jeez, Hillary.
Sorry.
This is what we we do in the retrospectives. We quote.
People like it. They're here for that.
That's right.
But everyone's been in that moment when they're kind of trying to impress their crush and then they end up making an ass of themselves, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's very relatable.
And there is sexual tension, which is also pretty well established in this first.
Yeah, because she already kind of knows. She doesn't know to what extent, but she knows.
She knows.
Or it's subconscious.
Yes.
And then
To some
it's cute
degree,
because
but-
at the end he lets her win, basically.
He does.
But she
Oh,
then the
see,
guy-
I
She
think it's
doesn't know,
cuter.
and he just said, look at how happy, because it is right after she breaks up with Paolo, so he's trying to make her feel better, because she's,
Well, and she also
She
loses
just lost.
the
She
job.
yeah.
thought she was gonna get the job, and
Yeah.
she just find this out.
That might be why I don't like it. I hate cheating at games. I know I'm very like.
It's not
He
cheating in
wasn't
poker.
cheating. If
you
it's
can
poker,
always
you can always fold.
you can muck your cards.
you can, yeah.
But he
You can
intentionally
bluff,
lost.
you
Is
can do all
that the
biz.
problem?
You don't have to have a reason. Don't make them make you feel that way.
And he showed,
Why are you trying to be
She looked so sad. I was trying to be Ross and cheer her up.
is that what Ross does?
Ross does not do that.
He lets her win. Oh my gosh! Can we not just cover this?
Ross
See, that's
does
why.
I'm
Ross
indifferent
does it a
towards the
lot.
episode, so
What?
I said I guess I'm in the middle. I'm indifferent towards it.
It's not my
It's like,
favorite.
it's
It's
not
not my
an
least,
episode
but
that
I
I
don't
like.
mind it.
But that's not even my favorite Ross Rachel moment of the first season. Like, I'm all about when they're hanging out at the laundry.
Oh my gosh!
Puts her in a
Yes!
situation where she can stand up for herself and be like, yes, I can do this.
And she gets
I'm all
super
about that.
excited because he helped her, but she still did it. And then she kisses, just gives him like a peck, but he like loses his mind.
He runs into the open dryer door.
Yes.
But
Can I interrupt with that episode? There's a Star Trek moment. The
And-
lady in the
and-
laundromat is
Oh.
Kaiopaka, the one that tries to take Rachel's machine. She's on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
The super grumpy lady.
oh sure, I haven't seen Deep Space Nine as
Watch
much as
it.
I've seen Friends.
You could edit that too.
That was super nerding out mode.
I've seen Deep Space Nine all the way through twice. I've seen Friends all the way through probably 20 times.
400
Yes.
times.
Maybe. Anything else you want to say about season 1?
I really liked, even though, what is it called? Even though it's probably one of the more homophobic ones, one of my favorite episodes was
Andrew!
the one where Nana dies twice.
Nick liked that one.
Oh,
That's
the one
I
where
think
Nana
that's
dies
a
twice.
funny episode. That's probably one of my favorites from season 1. But at the same time, I feel like with the whole like everyone thinking Chandler's gay and stuff and the stereotyping, so
But that's a joke that goes all 10 seasons.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. But that's one of my favorite episodes from season 1.
You do get a good first exposure of Jack and Judy
Yes.
Geller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Played by Elliot Gould and Christina Pickles. So.
I enjoy those characters. I like
I-
when they come back every time.
Yeah, me too. I like too that you see some of the parents consistently throughout it. Because other ones just, other parents come in and out.
Yeah.
we
They're
meet
a nice reoccurring.
we meet Chandler's mom in season 1.
We do.
But then we don't see her again for a while.
But she comes back periodically.
Is it
She's played by
Chandler's
Morgan
mom that's making out with someone?
Ross.
Ross.
Yeah.
In the first season. I don't remember the name of that episode.
The one with Chandler's mom, I believe. Is what
There
it
you
is.
go.
All that.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, the one with Mrs. Bing.
The one with Mrs. Bing.
Sure.
It's the one with Chandler's dad is later.
Thank you,
Yes.
IMDb app.
Okay.
Nick doesn't like Paolo, and neither do I.
No one should. He's real slimy.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I don't
take
understand.
offense to that.
She just
Always
wants.
making Italian slimy. What is wrong with Italians?
I don't know.
You brought up the Italian part. man.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was.
Paolo. Paolo's always the bad guy.
That's-
Lizzie McGuire movie. Like Paolo's always the bad guy.
What is your
Easy.
life?
I know.
Monkey Trouble and Lizzie McGuire.
This is just poor choices of Rachel. No one was saying anything about Italians till you spoke up.
We like Joey.
Yeah.
I'm Italian.
So is Joey.
I know.
Okay. He's not slimy.
Oh no.
Yeah, he is.
He's a little slimy.
But he's slimy in a sexy way, whereas Paolo's
Ooh, no,
sexiness...
sometimes he's a bit of a pig.
They all are.
They're all pig. These are all deeply flawed characters.
No, I know that. I'm saying Joey's kind of a pig. And he talks brilliant, and he, doesn't care about
Is he
women.
better than Paolo?
Yes.
Okay.
But was he the best to get the one with the spin-off? No. But sorry.
That's a different podcast.
No, but that's, yeah.
Which we are not going to talk about unless somebody wants us to.
We're talking about Joey. Yeah.
So you want to talk about season 2 yet?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
All right, season 2. At this point, the show takes off. And not only does the show take off, but mainly it's because once Rachel finds out that Ross buys her this brooch, she discovers she's been sort of having some feelings for Ross. Of course, Ross doesn't know that. He goes to China and comes back with Lauren Tom.
The country.
Yes. China, the country. Comes back with Lauren Tom, the voice of Amy on Futurama, who happens to play Julie, his girlfriend. What do we think about... Oh, and Monica, of course, does meet Richard in season 2. This is the Richard season.
I enjoyed the Richard development. I did not enjoy the girlfriend development.
The
Julie.
Like, you don't like her as a character, or just the development of them being together?
That.
I hate... Rachel is so annoying when Julie's around that it makes me hate the Julie episodes.
Yes, same.
Even though I love Lauren.
I love Lauren Tom, but yeah, Julie does not do it for me.
Okay.
Well, it's because she's just an obstacle.
She's an obstacle, and she's super jealous because it's that thing once you realize that you have feelings for somebody. I mean, and you start to act irrational. Again, everyone's been there. I think there's a lot of, like...
She even ran to the airport to tell him how
Yes.
she felt and was surprised by his development.
That's what I said. I think there's a lot of absolute statements being made. When you have feelings for somebody, that you start to do some cuckoo things. That's the whole song and game, so...
That's
Yes.
the whole point of Friends.
Yes, that's literally the whole point of Friends. I mean, so,
None of them make good choices 100% of the time.
you know...
I don't mind if
I'm
you
just
guys like her. I just want to say, I mean, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, he's trying to move on.
I don't
Like,
I
she's
just-
I
fine
don't
for someone else. I think we can all agree.
Yeah. I don't like or dislike Julie. I think she is an obstacle.
Yeah.
I
Whoever
just
said
didn't
that.
like the way that was plotted and that whole section. And she's just there for like a little bit.
She was.
She ends up with Russ.
She doesn't.
She does end up with Russ. That's hilarious. See, I like those. Sometimes I just like the little tidbits at the end of the episode, which, you know, when you're watching them in syndication for the first time, I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't see those little
Because
end
they cut
tidbits.
them
Yeah.
off.
Or they get real tiny in the upper corner of the screen while they show you, while they start the next
Next
episode
episode.
of The Big Bang Theory. or
Right.
something.
So, but this season does have 2 episodes that I just love, which are the one with the
course.
prom video.
Yes.
Of course, yes.
And,
That is one of the best all-time episodes.
and then also,
Foreshadowing.
is this the one with, I can say that with anything, the one with 2 parties?
It is the one with 2 parties. That doesn't feature on my list.
That's on
No.
Nick's list.
That's
The
okay.
birth is that Rachel's birthday, and then
Her parents are
they're
divorced.
so they're trying to keep them.
And that's the one where
separated.
Chandler gets drunk and sleeps with one of Joey's sisters, but she doesn't know which one.
No.
Right.
My
Yes, that happens at that party, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Not at
No,
Rachel's
that's a
birthday.
different
No.
party.
No.
It's a different party?
That's
Yeah.
a different
It's
party.
a different party.
Are you sure?
It's
Yes.
in season 3 because it's
That's
on my favorites list from season 3.
Which
Right.
one is it?
The one where Chandler can't remember which sister.
Really?
I swear.
I do, I believe you.
I believe
Sorry.
my favorite from season 2 is the one where Old Yeller dies.
Oh,
Because
no.
Phoebe has her reckoning because her real mom, well, the mom that took care of her, foreshadowing, would lop off all of the sad endings of movies.
Yeah.
That's not on my favorite at all.
I just think that's
I do love the
I like
one with
that
the prom
episode.
video.
I don't know.
The one with the prom video
think
is my
my
favorite
favorite.
That's
episode
my
of this
favorite
season.
episode. I
Prom.
still.
He's her nuts.
I was gonna say I still have those main episodes, which will probably end up on my overall list. This foreshadowing, this will be one of them. I still have the feelings. I know it's coming, but I still have all the feelings, the excitement, a little bit of a tear, just because that moment when she walks over. I mean, the first
Aw.
time I saw it, I didn't think that that's what was going to happen in that moment. I think that's why it made such a big...
This live studio audience is what gives you those
Yes.
feels because they literally scream in triumph, like, "Oh my God!"
But going back to your story, I mean, that is what connects with people. That is why people are like, I have to know what's going to keep happening.
Plus, in that episode, you get your very first flashback in
Yeah.
the video, which
Yeah.
gives you your overweight
seeing
version
her-
of Monica
The
and your
dynamics.
the
And
pre-nose job version of Rachel, the welcome back,
Super
hey,
80s.
Mr. Cutter version of Ross.
And the Depeche Mode hair of Chandler.
yes. Well, no, not
he's
that
not
one.
in that one.
Oh, he's not?
Not in the
No,
prom
sorry.
video.
Because
I just think of him with the something about... I'm
That's
doing
later.
seagulls.
That's
Yeah.
later. That's in season 5.
What do
We'll
we
get
think
there.
about? I know there was some animosity or some bite back about Monica being overweight and how that was portrayed. I'm not saying I feel that way. I want to know what other people think, though.
In that episode, I don't think it's as much of a thing, but as
come
it
out
goes
since
on,
the body positivity movement has come out that there's, in the same ways that there's homophobia viewed and transphobia viewed and toxic masculinity viewed, the fourth strike on the show for some people is the, quote, fat shaming of Monica.
I'll just say sometimes
I agree with that.
it's not.
But if she's
they're
shaming-
not good jokes. Sometimes in later seasons,
The jokes
when
are easy.
When they,
They're cheap shots.
But I think in the prom video episode, that is a really well written episode. That's
And she has a date and stuff. It's not like they're like, oh, Monica's too fat.
Her date is
the only
Donkey
thing-
Lips from Salute Your
The
Short.
only thing that they say, the only thing that happens in that episode with the prom video is their dad has to pan out because Monica's bigger.
And they go,
And then-
whoa, and she says, the camera adds 10 pounds.
and
How
she-
many cameras are on
yes,
you?
and
Yeah.
And she gets mayonnaise on Rachel when she hugs her because she has to be eating while she's, I don't know. I was like,
She
oh.
eats a lot
I feel
of
like
Sanchez.
But they show, I mean, her mom is really,
Overbearing.
yeah. Like, they show a connection there.
Oh, yeah, no. So I get why they did it. A lot of people don't like you to put actors in fat suits, I guess. It makes sense when you're trying to show that a character has lost weight. It's just, this is another thing that you look back on it and you kind of cringe at some of the jokes.
It
But
does inform her character, though. The reason why she's so kind of obsessive
I
about
don't know
things.
if these were season
The
2 or
chef.
3, but with, what's his name?
Richard?
Richard.
Tom Selleck.
And with the kid that she babysat that's like an adult now.
That was the
And
it
then
factor, I
like
think.
Rachel ended up like everyone slept with his dad and Rachel slept with his dad.
Oh.
Like I feel like those episodes is where the fat shaming was the most offensive. When it's like the people that knew her when she was fat and coming back and all like treating her differently, based on, her actually being attractive now, which,
But the same way I look at it is that's still a very real thing for
Oh,
people,
absolutely.
even with all the body positivity. So if it's putting that out there again, where it's putting it hitting the nose right on the head, so that those people who are feeling those feelings know that maybe they're not alone, that there's other people who have gone through it.
There's also
I don't
the
know.
counter argument, which happens later in season 6 or 7. The one where something like the one that might have been, or the one where they dream about what if some things had never happened, and hers was what if I had never lost all that weight. And one of the things she learns is that she's okay with herself, and that the person she's meant to be with, Chandler, is perfectly okay with her the way she is.
Yep.
So even though there are some of these cringeworthy cheap shot jokes around stuff that makes up a person, which we would not be okay with if it was in a sitcom now, there were payoffs later in the show as the 10 years progressed.
very true.
And I like the one where Chandler runs into his camp girlfriend that he dumped because she gained weight, and Monica says, my body's going to change. Like, what if I have a baby? I'm okay with it. Are you okay with it? And I like
you
that
should go
dialogue.
apologize to her.
Yeah, because as somebody who's had a baby, had 2 babies, but yeah, my body is not the same, and I appreciated that monologue. So I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting.
The one where Ross finds out is in this season, so I just want to mention it because that, my friends, is closure.
I love that
So
dinner scene.
you were over me? When were you under me?
Is the one where Ross and Rachel, isn't this season or later?
And it's in this season when
Yep.
when they eventually end up in the planetarium.
Yeah, and then it becomes a paleontology situation, and there's children.
They wake up
in an exhibit.
That is the one where Monica and Richard get together.
It is.
It is.
Which maybe this is an unpopular opinion, I thoroughly enjoy Richard.
I
think
Richard.
everybody likes.
That's why they kept
I have
bringing
never.
him
I don't
heard-
think Samantha likes Richard.
Really.
I don't like. I think the age difference is icky,
I don't think it's.
but at the same time, I love Tom Selleck. So if
And
I
their
can
chemistry is
separate
magic.
the two,
Their chemistry is magic. It is so.
What I liked about it, I get what you're saying, Samantha. I totally get it. What I liked is the issues that it brought up about him saying yeah, I mean, I love you, but I've already I have grown children, and she was in a different stage of life.
Again, it's talking about another thing, that before would have been very taboo. We're talking about a relationship, big age difference. They still note the taboos in it, but it still talks about the real aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it, I think they do it in a decent way with that too. I don't know. It's just one of the first shows, not the first show, one of the first shows to really talk about a lot of these different things.
And then...
And I like how there's so much realism like that put into all the storylines. And I think I really disliked it more after I went back and watched it again, after having watched the whole series, because in my mind, after you see it once, Monica and Chandler are supposed to be together. So a little bit in the back of my mind, it's like, oh,
but everybody
like,
has...
this just isn't how it's supposed to be.
In the end, I just feel sad for Richard because we know that later he's going to come back and be like, you were the one.
Right.
And I and then he doesn't get the girl, but he's still Tom Selleck, so he's probably fine.
I think either way, Monica would have had to have had a relationship like that before she could really realize that someone like that is right in front of her speaking from somebody who was in that same exact situation.
I like everything Hillary is saying and agree with all of it. And it's
We
not
are
just because we
related.
shared a bedroom when we were kids.
In a lot of ways, we're very different, but...
I also want to mention, so even though we've talked about Ross's homophobia, one of the counter arguments to that is the one with the lesbian wedding.
It's one of the best episodes.
It's one of the best episodes. Yeah. It's gentle, it's in deference, and he gives her away because her parents won't come to her wedding, and that is a real life situation with a CPU panelist. I've actually told her, oh my God, you're Carol. And her fiance is Susan because her parents will not come to her wedding either. So this is like real stuff that's just exaggerated for situation
comedy. Yes.
So
it's meant to be exaggerated at times. Yes, maybe there's a couple times, like we've said, it goes
too
far or is slightly out of date, but overall, I don't think that a lot of other things would have been on TV without Friends doing a lot of those aspects first.
Thank you.
I would agree.
I hate Eddie.
Yep, me too.
I like those episodes, though.
I was going to
They're
say,
good episodes.
I've read online that a lot of people like those episodes, and a lot of lists put, like, the one where Eddie won't leave as one of their favorite episodes.
That's my least favorite.
But I was going to say,
I don't like anything about Eddie.
That episode shows up on a lot of favorites lists. It's not one of my favorites either. It's kind of like, I don't dislike it. It's not one of my favorites, but Eddie is an exaggerated character. But that could happen too. You know, you could end up with that crazy roommate that you don't realize. It kind of makes me sad when Joy moves
who
out.
hasn't had a crazy roommate?
We're like, think about it.
None of mine have been... Well, there's one.
There's always one.
There's one that was a little clueless at the time.
Alas.
But I feel like this is the cautionary tale. This is the reason I've never had a roommate.
Right?
That's not
You got to be careful with that, Samantha.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Because that just ended.
Huh?
I said, because that just ended.
It was cute to see the Joey and Chandler separation, though, because then they realized how much they appreciated their friendship and living together.
Which is also the counter to the toxic masculinity arguments, because Joey and Chandler are precious.
And they have the best bromance ever.
I don't love the baby on the bus
That's one of my least favorites as well.
Me too.
That was the first episode I ever saw.
I don't hate it. It's not torture to me, but whenever there's a situation that's like potentially serious and they don't just like call someone that could help them, I get weird. I just am like, this isn't funny to me anymore.
It's also tedious because they did it to impress a girl and then they had to run after
it's just a little.
And it ends with, is that the right baby?
90s, and
Yeah, is that the right
baby?
baby?
In the 90s, we could do whatever we wanted. Kids were very endangered.
An infant?
But leaving them on the bus?
And then they go to pick them up and they
I
don't
was
know
like
which
in the
one's
90s,
which.
like go to
And they
like,
don't know the baby. And
talking about times
Something
like
they tried to commit
things like
insurance
that
fraud.
happen in lots of things.
I guess that's
It
just
was
why I don't like it, is I just don't find that situation too amusing.
Right.
If other people do, good on them.
No,
but
I agree
I don't
with
know.
you,
I
Sarah.
just
I agree. Like
I don't think I don't think a lot of people I've talked to that love Friends have been like, you know what, my favorite thing ever was when they left Ben on the bus.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that. So in your defense,
that's
I
good.
think that's fair.
Okay, all right, I feel vindicated.
I In the same way, like, they try to commit insurance fraud, and I'm just like, sometimes I don't think they realize the seriousness of the consequences of some of their actions.
It's supposed to be
Yes,
ironic.
but wasn't that the episode that featured George Clooney and Noah Wyle in the
Yes.
ER
Yeah, so
heyday?
they could. There was lots of NBC
yes.
crossover at that time.
There was.
I did like when they were yelling insults to each other, but they were saying, like, I use my breasts to get attention. We both do that! It was a good conversation.
So even though there was insurance fraud, which made you
It
a
was
little
bad.
squeamish, it was really funny otherwise. So-
I also really like the
I
one
never
with...
saw ER, so I guess I just didn't have that.
It's on Hulu. You want to watch?
I don't
You wanna go upstairs
care.
real quick?
Where were you?
What if
in
we-
the
what
What
mid
if
to
we
late
tell you
90s?
it's British? Does it make it better right away? I'm just kidding.
Michael Crichton.
I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of stuff growing up. My parents were really, really, really particular about what we were allowed to watch.
That makes sense.
So, and we didn't have cable.
It happens.
that was on NBC.
No, I'm just saying, but like, we just didn't have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
You
Hence
were
the Jeopardy comment previously.
I will tell you,
you were
Krista,
very limited.
I loved ER. That was the one where, like, I busted home, but that one was on at 10, so I could get, But I started watching it again, and it doesn't really hold up for me the same as it did, so I don't know if that makes you feel
And it
I
went
mean,
on
there
a
are plenty
lot
of
longer
shows
than
that
it
I
should
have
have.
watched. I am comfortable with my TV choices.
Can I say one I really liked this season that's not a very famous one, I don't think, but I enjoyed the 5 steaks and an eggplant one.
The one where they have the money differences.
Yeah, and I just thought that was a good representation of how, like,
real life.
real life.
Real
they're
life.
like, I'm a waitress. I'm a, this. We don't have any money. And
I'm an out of work actor.
I enjoyed that.
Well, is that the one where there's like the 3 of them don't have the money? And
Yeah.
That's one of
And
my
they sing
favorite
Hootie and the
episodes
It's
in the
Ross-
series.
Yeah, because they're trying to plan Ross's birthday party, and then they want to do all these things, and then go to a Hootie and the Blowfish
and
concert.
$100 is a lot to chip in. I'm sorry.
That is, even then.
Even
Oh,
then.
wait, yeah.
It would have
Even
been more
now.
then.
Yeah, like
it
even
would have
now.
been more then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Monica gets fired for accepting the free
A kickback,
steaks.
basically. Yeah.
And so then she's like, "Oh crap!"
Well, then it's one of those things. Again, then none of the rest of it matters, because at the end of it, if something really major happens with one of your friends, you're going to be there
You're
for
there,
it.
yeah.
Oh.
I keep thinking
wow,
that
it's
was,
like that's a song or something.
I kept thinking that was season 3, but that is one of my favorite episodes. Is the Super Bowl episode, part 1, the one with Julia Roberts
That's
and Chandler
next.
on the date?
That's
next
season 3,
season.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's season
That is
3.
season 3? Okay, because I was just looking at it and Julia Roberts is in.
Is there anything else you want to say about season 2?
We mentioned the one with the 2 parties, but we didn't mention Rachel's parents. Like,
Oh.
that it's Ron Liebman and Marlo
Marlo
Thomas, and
Thomas.
those are another set of parents we don't see as, obviously, the Gellers we see the most, but this is probably the second most that we see coming back. And
That's
I
true.
love Ross's relationship with Rachel's dad, and I love Marlo Thomas as Rachel's mom, and that story arc that will happen later, too.
We actually eventually meet Rachel's whole family, which I think is
All
fun.
of her sisters.
Yeah.
I do like the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and
Was
The
that
monkey.
this season?
it says season 2.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it
Dude,
was.
the
Marcel on
Super
the-
Bowl episode has Julia Roberts and Jean-Claude Van
That's that
Damme.
one.
That's when
Oh, yeah,
Marcel
it is that
comes
one.
back.
Yeah,
The
so
one
is that
after the
under-
Super Bowl is
where-
Yeah,
season 2?
Julia Roberts. Yeah, it's
Okay.
So
season
that
2.
is season 2.
It is
Okay,
season 2.
thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez,
Sorry.
Kylie.
I don't have the list in front of me.
It had 2 big stars in the same episode, which already was, I think, showing how much its popularity was quickly increasing. I like that episode literally just for Phoebe going, "All right, now I'm gonna kick some ass," because
If
Monica
we were
and
in
Rachel,
prison, you two would be
be
like my bitches.
because they're fighting over Jean-Claude because Monica liked him, but then he liked Rachel, and then she got the date, and then they start girl fighting back at the apart, like slapping boobs and things like that. I love, just for that scene alone, I love that
Julia
episode.
Roberts guested on the show because at the time she was dating Matthew Perry in real life.
It's so weird.
I totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
That
Brooke
is
Shields
weird.
was also in that episode.
Serious face sometimes.
She played the stalker in that episode?
Like,
Are you sure?
The one after the Super Bowl, part 1, starring Brooke Shields, Chris Isaac, Julia Roberts,
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, Fred Willard, and Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah.
Dan
Castellaneta,
Castellaneta,
Homer
the
Simpson.
voice of Homer Simpson.
Who did he play?
he played the janitor.
Oh.
The words on the street. And
It
when I
says
mean
the
city
most
streets, I mean the fake ones
star-studded
at the city.
2-parter of the show's run.
What did Brooke Shields play?
The
She was
stalker.
the stalker
She was
that
the
sent
stalker
the finger.
Joey.
That all happened in that one
It's a
episode?
It's
two-parter.
a 2-parter.
Oh.
The one with the Super Bowl.
So
before
she's
the
only in
Super
that
Bowl
one
and after
part,
the
but I
Super Bowl.
think Julia Roberts
Because,
is in
yeah,
both.
he had to pretend to be, like,
Drake's
Drake's
evil-
evil twin to get her to
Dr. Drake Ramore.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned Joey's big break on Days of Our Lives.
Well, he'd already been Dr. Drake
that the one
Ramore,
where
and
they
then
kill him off?
they kill him off in the second season because he talks like he was writing.
Yeah, his
He was
interview at
ad-libbing
his Soap
his
Opera
lines
Digest.
and
And he said that he's writing all the best stuff, and he pissed off the writers, so then they wrote him off by him going down the elevator shaft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think seasons 2 through 4 are my favorite of the entire series. Just because I feel like talking about them and then thinking like, oh, but there's episodes from 3 and 4 that are some of my favorites too.
Seasons 4 through 6 are mine, but we will get there.
Yeah, same.
So, anything else you want to say about season 2? Because there's a big, heavy discussion to have about season 3.
Let's do it.
So in season 3, Ross and Rachel start out off okay. Monica's real depressed because Richard and she had that heavy talk about they're in different places and they break up. Joey's gotten himself unemployed again. And Phoebe's just gotten a lot sassier. A lot sassier in this season, which is enjoyable. So I call it the Ross and Rachel struggles season because let us not forget that they go on a break.
May I start, please?
You may, Krista!
Okay. I have feelings about Ross in this season. So, he turns into a total poophead. And about Rachel's job. And the way he behaves towards her and showing up at her work constantly. I was almost okay with Ross. And going back and rewatching that, I'm like, can you imagine someone doing that?
My wife comes to my work all the time.
Literally.
No, yes, but does she bring, like, tons of gifts and, like, refuses
She
to let her
brings
talk?
our kids.
Now
Okay.
he comes to work because of Mark.
So there's some
Yes.
But
insecurities happening there.
There's nothing happening, and he doesn't trust her.
That
He
is
doesn't-
her main argument,
Yeah.
yes.
And
That was his argument.
he would say that he doesn't trust Mark, and it doesn't see that there's a difference, which there is.
I think
Mark is trying to get into her pants, which he admits later on.
But
so. Ross was right the whole time. The whole point is, yes, he doesn't trust Rachel. He should. Blah blah blah.
It's a very nuanced argument.
A girl.
This is one of the most enduring controversies of the show, and it really falls along gender lines. Ross and Rachel.
I also think that they were on a break.
Right?
They were on a break,
just-
but it's Rachel's prerogative to not want to get back with him.
No, exactly.
I was gonna say, I just think Ross, at times, of course, he has that obsessive behavior, and he's been in love with her so
Jealous
long.
behavior.
The jealous
Jealous
behavior is, well, yeah, and that's where it's coming from, is all those insecurities of losing her, and we all know it's not right, but again, we probably have known somebody who's been in that same position who just can't,
I would
even when you're advising him and you're like, no, just cool it. Like, his friends are telling him, chill out.
I would advise her to call the police.
It is annoying. I think
It's
Ross is in the
supposed
wrong,
to be.
but it's at least way, like, it's true to the character.
Yes.
Because it's really, other than he's only had one other serious relationship.
Yes.
It's been a long time for him ending
Rachel
up
was
getting to
technically his
Rachel.
first love, even though they weren't together.
And his wife cheated on him. So, like,
Which it pretty
Right.
much informs his entire state of being for the whole
It
series.
literally shapes him as a human being. When you go through something that traumatic, especially at a younger age.
So here's my take on the break. Yes, they were on a break. I
But
think
is it a breakup?
No, you didn't let me finish. You did not let me finish, so you can disagree if you want. They were on a break, but so here's what I'll say. Yes, Ross was acting jealous and possessive and didn't trust her. But she also bailed when it got hard, which is
Yes.
one of his points in the argument. It's like she ran. She dropped it. Now, the counter argument to that is he didn't even let the body of the relationship get cold before he jumped
Oh no,
in with
he
the
did not do a
coffee girl.
good thing.
So, was it a break up? That's really the fundamental argument, isn't it? That's the semantics.
It is, and I
think
don't
the
know that
whole
I'm
point of it is
necessarily
that they were both
disagreeing
right
with
and they
you.
were both wrong at the same time, and that's what happens in relationships and breakups.
Oh, reality.
I know.
I'm never wrong. Just kidding, Nick. Haha.
Sarah might be Monica in real life.
Nope.
Hope not.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not.
I just feel like it's very confusing.
It's okay for you guys to be wrong. My best friend Megan is Monica.
Okay.
I think I mean, I think I'm a version of Monica, and if I am, you probably should be too.
I mean, I'm not, but it's okay.
Who do you think you are?
Definitely Rachel. Definitely Rachel.
Ask her who I am.
Are you-
Who do you guys think I would be out of the
Chandler.
I
Chandler.
think, yeah.
Chandler, yeah.
Who's Nick?
I think you're mostly.
Ross.
I was gonna say you're mostly Chandler with a dash of Ross. That's what I would say.
So since we're talking about this, whenever I've taken one of these quizzes, and I've taken many of them, if there's a gender restriction, I always end up with Rachel. But if there's not a gender restriction, who do you think I end up as?
Chandler.
No.
Ross.
I wish!
Ross.
It's so odd. Yeah.
And it makes me sad
I think
inside.
I think you dress more close to a Phoebe.
I would agree.
She
Yes,
likes
I
a
like
lot
her
of
stuff.
just going by fashion. She
Eclectic.
likes a lot of that stuff. I don't think I dress like Rachel. I wish.
I
don't
wish.
have her money.
I don't have her money either, or work for designers, which she probably gets a discount.
I would say you
I
are
could see
Rachel.
both
I would say
aspects,
that
though. I changed my mind. You're both.
I kind of am both. The only reason I'm
Like,
so
you're
adamantly a Rachel is because I
definitely a
lived
Rachel.
with Megan for so long, and she is Monica, and her husband is Chandler. So, and her sister is Phoebe. So we all
Got it.
and those are the people I watched with.
Yeah, one of my best friends was a paleontologist, so it's hard for me to think of me as the Ross.
If anybody in this room is gonna live with a monkey, I know Andrew loves them, but you come on.
I'm friends with many
You're
of
friends
them.
with many of them at your job, so I'm.
I'm more of a Rachel anyway, I'd say.
Definitely.
I think you're a Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Oh
fair.
yeah. Oh yeah.
We're already having this discussion. I thought this was going to come later.
I know, right? It just comes out.
I guess
I
I'm
never thought about it until I was
Chandler.
like Rachel, and then she said it.
You think you're Chandler?
I don't think
I gotta
No.
think about it.
I don't know, but anyway, you guys tell me.
Monica?
No.
No.
Phoebe?
Maybe you have to.
I
You're
think
Gunther!
Nick.
Gunther! You're Gunther! Just kidding. I made it up. You're not Gunther.
You're Paolo. Just kidding.
Janice?
Kathy?
I think you'd kind of be a
You're a
combination,
combination.
of. I think there's some Monica in you.
Sure.
Yeah.
No one's a Joey.
No one's a Joey in this room.
Not in this room. No.
They exist.
Maybe some Chandler, just in terms of the sarcasm. But I think if you were going, I don't mean this negatively. I'm going to
Please.
take the neurosis of their two neuroses. I think you're closer to the Monica side because you like things like you like it.
Who's Samantha?
I've never heard that before.
Samantha, who are you? You're so laid back and like.
Phoebe?
I think when I take the quizzes, I think I usually end up being a Monica. I just
Wow.
seem laid back. It's all an illusion.
So you're basically Monica in seasons 1 through 3 before she gets real crazy.
There you go. That's perfect.
When
Yep.
I've taken the quiz, I feel like you may have posted it once, a while back. I was
Probably.
a Ross, and that blew my mind.
No.
That by the questions I answered.
Not
on
unless
the
you're getting
test,
a lot
I
of
was
divorces.
Ross.
You're not Ross.
No, I know.
So I have
All
to
the
say,
divorces.
I know. I have to say one of my most favorite episodes on the series and my most favorite episode of this season is the one where no one's ready.
Oh, yeah.
That's
my
one of the
favorite.
best episodes of all time.
So, that
Possibly the best. in
With
my
the
opinion.
cushions and the pants.
I'm
And,
laying down so you can all pile on, but that is my least favorite episode. I get why you all like it. I find it so frustrating to watch. It makes me angsty and anxious that they won't just get ready. I can't enjoy
And
it.
yet you're not Monica or Ross.
No,
She's Monica.
to me. It's more about this is what gets me is there. I feel like it's inconsiderate, and I get upset about it.
Farce, And
And
Like, I'm not saying
Very
that
Neil
it's not
Simon
good,
and-
and I'm not
farce.
saying it's not well written. I'm saying I don't enjoy watching it. It just doesn't make me feel happy to watch.
There are so
That's
many
shocking to me.
lines. If I
For
were
you.
going commando,
No.
better not do any lunges. Or I got the hummus. There's just so many. I also enjoy the one with the football. This is the season that introduces, kicks up the Thanksgiving tradition a little bit with the Geller Cup.
I love that one.
It's actually
I love the one with the chicken and duck.
All of them. And
And really
Thanksgiving
just because
episodes
they're
are
so
my
cute.
favorite.
No, I love the one with the football. Maybe that's because of, I don't know. I just like the dynamic. I think they're almost acting very brother and sisterly in that episode. That's what I don't know, it reminded me of my brother and sister.
I know they're trying to impress the Dutch girl, but Rachel getting picked last for the team's really fun. And then she eventually catches the ball, and then she doesn't quite make the touchdown line, and then they're holding the troll while the rest of them are eating the Thanksgiving turkey. That's so good.
There's lots of one-line.
They're
I'm
on
with
the
you.
football outside,
Yeah.
not the troll.
Oh, yeah, they're not on the troll, they're on the football.
I'm with you. That's one of my favorite
I
episodes.
enjoy that one.
I like that one. I like Phoebe in that one.
Yes.
She just wants to get in the huddle, and she's so excited.
She's so excited to be part of it. And I have to mention the one with Frank Jr., not because I love Frank Jr., who is, of course, Phoebe's and Ursula's half-brother by her father and is played by Giovanni Ribisi, but the one with Frank Jr. is where it introduces the five.
The five what? Oh, the list?
The five that you can sleep with that Ross eventually laminates before he meets Isabella Rossellini.
One of mine died.
Oh,
R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
right. I did know that.
God, he died.
I forgot
I know.
he died.
I gotta put someone in that spot.
That is so sad.
That's
I
really-
was very upset that day, by the way.
I know.
All
I'm
five
like
of mine are on TV.
upset that like sometimes people die and it's like I know and then I completely forget.
No,
about
that
it.
happens
Like,
to me,
that
too. That's
completely
legit.
left
We're
me
rewatching
on.
The Sopranos, and I keep having to remind myself.
2 questions. Is season 3 the episode with Ralph Lauren and Phoebe?
No, that's way
later.
later.
That's way later.
Yeah, she hasn't got that
Then
time
how
yet.
did I watch that episode recently?
Because she starts off working for Bloomingdale's,
Yeah.
and then
She's in Bloomingdale's right now.
Ralph Lauren comes way later.
Okay. Somehow I watched that episode recently.
Probably on
And-
TBS. It's on all the TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on all the TVs.
And I actually listed, not as my least favorite on the whole series, but of the season, I just don't like taking a break in the morning after. The morning after is one of the rare, pure, dramatic episodes, except for the fact that they're all stuck in the bedroom, and that's
I
the
actually
parts I
really
like.
like that episode.
Wow, man, we are opposites.
Is that where they're eating the leg wax?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leg wax.
I
Waxing.
like
And
the one
again-
with the race car bed.
You're really
The
seeing...
one where they're trapped in the room has the line. I guess we all learned something. Yeah, don't cheat on Rachel.
Well, don't say that. Well, don't. Yeah, I know the whole thing.
There's
You
some
like
good
the one
ones.
with the race car bed.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I'm just reading the names and I remember laughing a lot at that episode.
Sometimes it's hard.
Monica Falula Geller.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard because when I look at the titles, it's named after my least favorite part of the episode, and then it makes me forget the other storyline in there that I might have really liked. I don't know.
literally just watched the seasons 2 and 3 most recently of all the seasons. So
We haven't talked about Janice yet.
Oh my God.
Okay, my mistake.
I think she's a character we all love to get annoyed by, but I think Maggie Wheeler is a genius because she's
Yeah.
nothing like that in real life.
Man,
It's just
and
awesome.
remember I was really young when this first came out. So Maggie Wheeler is one of those actresses that the first time I saw her in something else, I had to go, oh yeah, she's an actress. Like, that's not her. She was playing a part. I just assumed she was always like that because she commits to it and...
She just became so iconic. I think even people who don't watch Friends as much as we do still kind of know what that is.
She appears in all the seasons.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful. They make her so gaudy and weird looking. Like they really, the nails and the hair and all the makeup.
Animal prints.
But
lots of
she's-
animal
They all
prints.
use the phrase, oh my god, like that, whether she's in an episode or not. Like, it
Yeah.
becomes part of...
Yeah, the vernacular.
when I was a kid, I used to think that was Minnie Driver.
That was rando.
Is it Minnie Driver in this show somehow?
No.
No.
That's
Never.
Will and Grace.
Yes.
Yes, she's a.
Like,
We did that whole series in one looking back episode.
There's not as much to talk about. What can I tell you?
Touche.
Anything else you want to say about season 3?
Deborah Jo Rupp, I love her.
As Alice, Frank Jr.'s
And I just
to-be
love that
wife.
actress, so...
She is Kitty.
Those two really commit to it.
They do.
They
They're
really.
very good together.
They did
yeah.
a good job of making that cute too. I mean, again, that's something that
Because
probably
that's a bigger age difference than...
than the whole Richard thing.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a little
It's a
creepy that she
teacher.
was his high school teacher.
Home ec teacher.
We're hoping he graduated.
Well,
They
and
are.
Phoebe still tried to do the big sister thing and kind of split them up, but then she realized that they really are just happy together. So
And I'm
Love
glad
is
this
love.
relationship happens because it fuels one of my all-time favorite episodes.
yes, This is also when they get the chicken the duck, which
Oh yeah, the chicken, the dog.
that's they were in the show
They're
for like
iconic.
several seasons. Yeah. There's so many scenes just where they were using them as little devices for the situational.
What did the damn
comedy.
duck do now?
Yes.
Now it's funny because I listed as one of my least favorite of season 3 the one where Chandler can't remember which sister.
I put that as one of my top favorite, just because I like the comedy involved in that. No woohooing, no woohooing. Just that line.
Okay. It was a very Chandler-centric episode.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, but it's kind of a tired thing at the end, like how many sisters does he have and which one is which, and they're all
8.
wearing red, and he goes to the door, but I like it. Entertains me.
I'm realizing.
Why don't you like it?
It just gets boring by the end.
Yeah.
It's really funny from the party, and then it's funny when Chandler and Joey are...
Beating the dead horse.
Yes, but then by the time they're in the house and all the girls are wearing the same colors, and I mean, I can't blame Chandler for not remembering which sister either.
They're like carbon copy.
Well, and it was
That's
because he was
the joke.
drunk. It could have been any.
Right, he had a lot of Jello shots.
Yeah, he was blackout drunk, right?
Yeah.
So, and that happens to people.
Especially in the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s are big for Jello shots.
You don't know, you were young.
Anything else you want to
That's
say
5
about
to
season
15.
3?
I like the one with the dollhouse.
Oh,
because it's funny.
the dollhouse.
I just think it's funny because Phoebe makes her own dollhouse.
But then it burns down.
It wasn't on purpose.
I know. It seems the fire started here in the incense room.
Again, there's just little
And
fun
that's when
lines
Ross
like
was
that.
funny. Still.
I just want to correct
Foreshadows
a
the fire
statement I
in
made.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
thinking
it does.
season 4 is. I keep thinking season 3 was season 4. But now I'm reading the titles. I'm like, oh no, those are the episodes I really like.
Yeah,
season 4.
Season 3 was Ross and Rachel break up, and then it ends
Sure,
at the
he's
beach.
not a Phoebe.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely a little bit of a Phoebe.
Let's
Okay.
talk about season 4.
Let's do it
John
right now.
Favreau's in that season.
I like that
Season
storyline,
3.
and I hate
Yeah.
how it ends.
Yeah, I hate that storyline.
I don't either.
I mean, I think the whole point of it is Monica and Pete don't have chemistry, but when he gets into the ultimate fighting
Yeah,
That's
I
championship,
gonna
don't
be
care for that.
foreshadowing. That's gonna be on one of my least favorites of all.
that's a struggle bus.
time.
It was like they
it's
wanted
so
her to
far-fetched.
think it was a ring. So it was a ring designer. Or what could be a different kind of ring?
It's just
Oh, he
so
could want to be
far-fetched.
that. It was
They
just
spent
weird.
so many episodes on him trying to win her over,
Yeah.
and then she finally decides to, and then he decides that his one mission in life is to do this thing, and then he sucks at
Just
it.
because he's rich and is bored, apparently.
And it's, to me, that's just really, it doesn't even match his character.
And
It's
I
just
like John
stupid.
Favreau. It's
Yeah.
not him. That was just
No.
a
Right. It seems
terrible-
like kind of a waste of talent on his part because he's such a
Yes.
delightful actor.
Yes, agreed.
And brilliant director, since we're giving him a shout out.
Yeah, shout
Good
out John
job, John.
Favreau.
We
Favreau.
loved Elf. Keep
Tweet
it
at
coming.
tweet at us.
Started
if
the
you dig this.
MCU.
That's true too. Look at nerdy crossed over. And so then we get into season 4, and at this point, Ross and Rachel contemplate for exactly one episode getting back together before they don't, and then it becomes this
The
kind of
18-page letter, front and
Oh,
back.
don't get me started. So there's that whole piece, and then they basically spend the whole season trying to get over each other by dating new people, and including Emily. Emily comes into this mix. And of course, this features one of the highest rated episodes of all time. It's picked on several best of lists. Everybody talks about it. The one with the embryos, but it's the one with the quiz show.
Yes.
Yeah. When Nick picked that one as his favorite, because I'm looking at our spreadsheet, I was like, the embryos, what happened in that was so good? And he's like, that's
the quiz show.
I'm like, okay, but it's a misleading title almost, because you're
That's
like,
my
what?
favorite from the season.
Yeah, I
It's
think
my favorite of
I
the
think a lot of
season.
people have, me too.
And will feature on my top 10 list. I
Yes.
say not where. So it's such such
iconic.
a brilliant, iconic episode. Everybody talks about this episode because even though you do have the quiz show and you have 5 of them together, you learn all of these tidbits, but you also have this very sweet storyline with Phoebe trying to get impregnated with her brothers and sister-in-law's embryos. But she hits it out of the park. I mean, this is one of Lisa Kudrow's best episodes, too, I think, on the series.
So they had to make her get pregnant because she was pregnant in real life.
Yes.
And so they needed a thing. And I think, again, at the time, I don't think surrogacy was as talked about or as well known. So that was kind of another thing they did that was interesting and cool to kind of see. And they made it triplets because she was way far along. Like, she was going to be way farther along, and so they wanted her to be, like, a realistic size. So that was kind of cool. I mean, I'm glad they didn't do holding a purse in front of you the whole time thing.
I'm gonna have my... Or wait.
That's Will and Grace.
Yeah.
No, Will and Grace.
My sister's having my babies!
And then with the London, this culminates in the wedding in London, a.k.a. Kylie's homeland. Where Kylie's spirit lives.
Just Kylie, not Hillary.
No. Well, no, because Kylie, like, wants to go live there.
I
Like,
do,
that's
wait,
too.
Oh, you do too?
It's
Oh, okay.
like, I would love to just go. She's at least been there.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to go there, but
It's a magical
it's
place.
a genetic thing, I think.
Oh. Well, and then Lisa Kudrow couldn't fly to London, so that's
Right.
why they had, because she was so pregnant, that's why they had to write it.
That was real life, because that's what she says in the show, too. I can't fly. I'm in my 3rd trimester.
I truthfully really, really enjoy the London trip. There's a lot that happens. There's a ton of plot. Mm-hmm. And Ross saying Rachel is one of the most surprising things if you don't know it's coming, and I did not.
Mm-hmm. Nobody did. There was a couple of twists in this London
It's such a simple thing, but it means so much. Like, it was cool.
They
It was
kept
well
that
done.
under wraps and did not tease it at all. I remember the commercials for these
Yeah, there
episodes.
was commercials.
It was all about them going to London and
Yeah.
Ross getting married.
It was nearly a whole season of build-up because, he met Emily shortly after they broke.
No, he meets her halfway through season 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But it's because Rachel is supposed to take her
her
to
to
the
the
opera
opera
for her
boss.
supervisor at Bloomingdale's,
Yeah.
because by then she's the personal shopper. And
And she wants to go out with
Joshua, the one she's helping to shop.
Yeah.
And so she pawns her off on Ross, and then Ross and Emily hit it off instantly. And Emily is actually kind of a winning character when you first meet her. I mean, at this time in the series, there's a lot of good, funny things. She fits in really well. Helen Baxendale plays Emily.
And she got pregnant
Yeah.
at one point, and so that's why that character got way scaled back.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
Because she didn't want to fly
Oh,
over
I
there.
didn't know that.
Yeah. I think she might be pregnant during the filming of the wedding. Because you can see her dress has the empire waist, and her face looks a little bit fuller. And I don't know the timing. I do know in the next season, they wanted Emily to be more in it, and she's like, I can't.
She's just on the phone in London.
Yeah,
for so much
she's
of
in
it.
bed, and there's different things they do. And she's like, I can't fly over there. I'm pregnant. A lot of people really, really hate Emily, but I think it's because you're supposed to not like her, maybe?
I think I
Not
grow
until-
to dislike her later on.
Yeah.
After he's trying to make it better after he said Rachel at the wedding.
Yeah.
I don't
The
think
fact
it's
that she
pretty
went through
unreasonable.
with the wedding baffles me.
Yeah, why didn't they just stop the wedding?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I feel like she was, I think she says that I was so shocked and embarrassed. I think she was embarrassed and just...
That's true, I could see
like,
that.
she didn't...
You're caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
That you can't even think straight, so it just happened.
Yeah.
It's not like... I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's easy for you to say what would or wouldn't happen if you're not there, but if you're going through it, who knows?
Yeah.
You might do the same thing.
I
So-
loved their wedding.
I have no
I
agreement
love
with
all
you.
the weddings on this show because I just love weddings.
Things.
But I loved what they did with that space. You know how it was getting knocked down and they put the candles and the stuff.
That was Monica. She made that happen.
Yeah.
Of course she did. But I thought that was really neat. Not my favorite wedding on the show. Not my least favorite. So there you go.
That's my least favorite wedding. But I do think the space was magically decorated, and I do love where they were going with it.
It's not my least favorite.
Well, I need to go from the beginning of the season, because the season starts off right away, yes, with them breaking up again. We're saying, oh, we are so over. Finally!
The one with the jellyfish is one of my favorite.
Yes.
I like that one too.
Because it also is an interesting foreshadow that they actually later incorporate into a clip show, where because Chandler the whole time is trying to get Monica to admit that she would date him.
Yes, he's
Until
asking.
she gets stung by the jellyfish,
she's
and
like-
he has to be
he's
the
like,
one
if
to
there
pee
was-
on her.
Is there if there was nobody else left, if we were on a desert, would you still? And she's like,
And then later on, he pushes it again. She's like, "You're still always going to be the guy who peed on me." So there's that. But then, of course, yes, the
Well, just the whole
18-page
build-up-
letter.
The whole build-up in that story of the jellyfish, I mean, the way that they tell it,
You weren't there. You don't know.
it's so funny.
And yes, the 18-page letter. You fell asleep. You have rambled on for 18 pages. Front and back! It's brilliant. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it's 17 pages, but I don't want to be that person.
I do like.
It's
It's
18.
18.
I literally just watched it.
Okay. For some reason I thought it was 17.
I've seen it 25
This
times.
episode, or this season, has Kathy.
Yes.
And
I love Paget.
We
Brewster.
love Paget Brewster so much.
I like
Kathy's
her.
great
I
until
like-
she cheats.
I was gonna say I like her as an actor, but I really dislike that character. She
Me
cheats.
too.
Yeah, she cheats on Joey, and then she cheats on Chandler. And the irony being, and that's probably I'll talk about that later in like my least favorite episodes, but that whole story arc kind of bothers me a little bit. Like, I get the whole friend betrayal thing between Joey and Chandler, but again, Joey doesn't really attach himself to too many women, so for him to be that pissed at Chandler doesn't ever really make sense for me.
However, it yields one of the best Joey quotes of all time, which is, "You crossed the line.
Right.
No, you're so far past the line, you can't even see the line. The line is a dot to you."
So true.
That is listed on my spreadsheet as one of the biggest disappointments, is what they did with her character.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I really liked her at first, and then they just made her like a
Well, that's what I
cheating
said.
lady.
It's like,
yeah.
I dislike her so much now because
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen right when she starts.
Yeah.
And even all of Chandler's sweet gestures, like getting her
The
first
Velveteen
edition,
Rabbit.
yep, the first edition, and all of that he goes through with Joey just for her to turn around and be that person anyway.
The best thing about her is the episode where Chandler's like, I'm gonna sleep with Kathy, and I'm really nervous because she's slept with Joey, so Monica and Rachel
This is one of my favorite episodes.
draw the erogenous zones.
Zones,
the one with Phoebe's uterus.
And then she comes running in and is like,
A one.
thank you, and she hugs Monica.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
7.
Seven.
Yeah.
And he's got this look on his face. It's amazing.
It's a good episode.
I like it.
I like the one with Chandler in a box.
This is
Oh, I
Thanksgiving.
don't like that one. For me, there's so much of the middle of season 4 that's just a bummer.
Yeah, I don't like
'Cause
the one with
everything's
Chandler in a box
dysfunctional.
because no, I'm sorry. Just because, again, it's them. It's such an extreme.
See, it's not just you.
It's such an extreme for Joey to make him go through all of that when Kathy ends up being such a bitch, and he's not that. I don't ever feel like he's that attached to her in the first place. There are some cute lines and moments in it though, but
It has
it's that
the-
story arc that bothers
Monica's
me.
big. I won't even. When they're all judging her for dating Richard's
Son, who's played by Michael Vartan from Alias.
I just love.
He's cute too.
He
She
is
calls
cute.
them all out on their weird things.
Yeah.
Like, married a
Yes!
gay ice dancer, married a lesbian, ran out on your wedding, lives in a box.
Threw a girl's fake leg into
Threw a
the
girl's
fire.
fake
That's
leg
the best
into
one.
the- yeah.
And
I
it
feel
has the
like that-
secret Santa where we discover that Rachel trades all the gifts,
Who
and so
returns
they're trying
everything
to.
she's ever bought.
Yeah.
Is this the one with the dishes?
No.
Oh, that's Wade.
That's
way down.
That's
The
later.
China, you mean?
Yeah.
That's way later.
That's
Chandler
after
But that is a
Chandler
good
and
one.
Monica are married.
Yeah.
That's the one with.
No, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
This
Samantha, what were you going to say before Andrew?
Oh, I guess it's just hard for me to pick least favorite episodes, and we can get into that later. But to me, even when you have an episode that's not amazing, there's still little wonderful moments in it and good one-liners.
I don't
So
know. One of my most least favorite episodes is the one with the dirty girl, and that's in this this season, and it's Rebecca Romaine and Monica. The best part about the episode is Monica comes to clean her apartment.
Yeah, I do like that.
And that's at the very end.
The one with the girl from Poughkeepsie. I like that episode a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
He spends all of it on the train.
Yeah.
A lot happens, and
That's
like
the
with
point.
Joey, is it Joey and Monica, and she's like, you know, and he goes and works there so she can like fire him to impress
Oh,
the
yeah,
staff.
that
and
is
he
in that
refuses
one.
to leave, and
I like.
Yeah, but
In the Dirty
that
Girl.
is a really cute moment. Again, a lot of people talk about Joey, but he does a lot of stuff for his friends that are pretty. I mean, because he even says, I need this job. I haven't been acting. I'm making a lot of money on tips. And so she's like, fine. I mean, we have this plan, and then that's what he does at the end for her.
I like Joey.
Good, Kylie.
Part of it, I like Ross describing how dirty the apartment is, and then someone says, "Is it really that bad?" It's like, you know how when you come home and you throw your jacket on a chair. Well, imagine the chair is a pile of garbage, and the jacket is garbage. And the only thing that's left is garbage for all time. I don't know.
It's just
exactly,
perfect
but
that
he
it's
just
Ross.
builds it nicely, and it's.
I will tell you, almost every season, one of the ones that both Nick and I list as our least favorite is a clip show. And that's just, I get why they used to do it, But now it's like I don't want to watch a clip show because
You're binging it.
Right.
You don't have to wait.
We don't have to wait. So sometimes, the one with the invitation is the one we put just because we don't.
I also didn't like as much the one with the cat, which is funny, but is also weird.
Is that where Rachel buys the $1,000 cat? On a
No.
No.
That's the
okay.
one
That's
where
later.
Phoebe's
Phoebe's
mom
comes
is
back
a
as a
cat.
cat.
Oh, damn, that's just sad.
And
I
then,
can see it.
it's really just someone lost their cat and they have to sit. I mean, it's almost like Phoebe knows, but subconsciously she wants it to be her mom just that bad.
But also she's stubbornly holding against Ross, who's
Yes.
her forever skeptic. Who's
But then in the end, they do have a really sweet exchange where
They
Ross
do.
is like, "It's okay."
yeah.
Phoebe meets her new mom. We missed that.
No, that's in 3 to 4. We'll cover it. But you're right. She
But it was
does
in
meet
3,
her.
aren't we on 4?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the cat is, because she's feeling guilty because she met Terry Garr.
That's
Yes.
right. Who, by the way, is one of the most brilliantly casted roles.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Watch Young Frankenstein. You will think that is Lisa Kudrow as...
Literally.
it
Yeah.
They
is,
look alike.
Remarkable.
And she even says floopy. I just feel so floopy.
Yeah, the mannerisms are pretty much spot on.
Yeah. And you find out that they had a little polyamory thing going. And
Once again, a little bit ahead of its time.
exactly. They just didn't have a name for it. We were kind of a couple. What?
How does that even work?
There's a lot of innuendo of things on this show. They do a lot with the sexy innuendo. Some of it's real ham-fisted, but when you were a teenager or early 20s, I'm sure you didn't catch half of what they were saying.
Since we're on Phoebe's
No.
relatives, I think we're way past it, but I love Phoebe's grandma. And I know we don't get
yeah.
much of her, and they really do wait to kill her off, even though the actress died long before. But it was Mrs. Roper from Three's Company.
Oh, yeah.
The threesome made me think of Three's Company, and that's how I got back to Mrs. Roper. But
We've also
she
already
played Phoebe's grandma really well.
We've met Ursula by now, of course.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, in
Right
season
away.
1, yeah.
Who I love, just because it's Lisa, but it's different. I don't know. I
It
like
was a
She's mean.
little.
She says, oh, it's you.
It's a little annoying because as somebody who watched Mad About You, you like her on Mad About
You
You,
do.
and she's kind of a
She's a
villain.
bitch.
Especially, I think once Mad About You's done, they let her be even like with the David Arquette storyline, and they just don't get along.
They're very opposite twins for being identical twins.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we talk about the porn star thing. Anything else you want to say about season 4?
One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. Because I think there's a lot of one-off episodes that are really, really, really good.
Well, you can tell that at this point they really have their rhythm
Yes.
and their chemistry down. I mean, even if you go back and just watch the blooper reels for each
Yes.
season, I mean, that's almost as good as watching the friggin' show itself.
And I just can't tell you, I would love to do a live rendition of the one with the embryos just so somebody could play act the quiz
Mrs.
show.
Chenandler Bong.
Miss.
It's
Yeah.
Miss Chenandler Bong, yes.
Which I love
What
because
scares-
Monica's so mad that Rachel got that question wrong, but Monica would have technically been wrong too because she didn't say Miss.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. That is true. According to Chandler, what scares the bejesus out of him?
Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance.
The Irish jig guy? His arms flail around as if independent from his body! There's
Yeah,
even
it's
more.
like-
He went to my high school.
Who?
Michael Flatley.
Oh.
Not at the same time as you.
No.
That's a tidbit.
No, remember, I'm real young.
God. Thanks, Nick.
My friend Barry, you guys know him.
Yeah.
High school with every famous person.
That's hyperbole, Andrew. Can't be
We
true.
didn't all go to the same high
Oak
school.
Park High School.
What?
I mean, Chicago,
August
that's
86?
why.
July 85.
Okay!
Mr. Couture.
Is there anything else you want to say about season 4 or seasons 1 through 4? Because we have more to say.
Ross and Monica.
Ross and
Or wait,
Monica.
no. Chandler and Monica wake
Ew,
up
ew.
in bed together, right? That's right at the end
That's
of the
the
episode.
Yeah.
season finale.
Is that the
of season
tease?
4.
The tease?
Yeah, that's the tease for the next season. Yeah.
That was the longest summer I ever spent because I'm going to tell you.
I didn't expect it, by the way.
I didn't expect it either. But they were a couple I always secretly shipped ever since they did the one with the flashbacks. And there was that scene where
I
she's
love
in
that
the
one.
towel and they're hugging and you think, oh my gosh, they have a lot of chemistry. And he says, wow, this is really nice. And she says, thanks, ... I got it on sale. talking about the towel. Like, it was one of those things where they kind of planted the seeds and you didn't really realize it. And then when this happens and they woke up in bed, I mean, the studio audience gasped, but I watched this with my senior year roommate, and we all went,
Yeah.
For real life and in the living room.
It was very surprising. And again, there had been so much on Ross and Rachel. That's not where you thought it was going to go.
No, and as we'll talk about, Monica and Chandler are my favorite.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Okay.
You want to stop this one for now?
Yeah.
I think we've talked a lot, and it doesn't mean we won't talk about seasons 1 through 4, but since we've been through seasons 1 through 4, and since we're going to talk about seasons 5 through 7, what I like to do is thank Sarah, Nick, Hillary, Andrew, Krista, and Samantha for joining me to talk about our very first episode of Friends. They're friends too, and since they're friends and you're our friends and we're all talking about Friends, what I now have to do is say... CPU was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, would you take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play? That means give us stars, comments, reviews, let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't, what we should keep, what we shouldn't. Do you like this Friends series? Because we can do more retros if you want. If you have suggestions on shows you might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have several more new episodes coming down the pike. And if you miss old episodes or want to know what we cover in general, we're everywhere. Find us on Google, subscribe to our website, channels, and social media. Stay up on everything new and exciting that we do, and there's just more coming. I can't even oversell it. Until the next time, Friends is currently only available on Netflix. However, that is not to be for long, as Warner Brothers Entertainment is launching its own streaming service they've announced later this year, and they will begin streaming one of its cornerstone series, Friends, on that platform alongside Netflix until the current contract with Netflix runs out at the end of 2019. In the meantime, our Friends panel will next reconvene to discuss seasons 5 through 7 of Friends and part 2 of the Looking Back series that we are doing right now very shortly. So until next time, until next episode, new episode published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.